So speaking of sides that would go wonderful with a chicken dish or whatever main ingredient that you're making for your meal, we're gonna make the most delicious side. In fact, sometimes I do eat this as a meal. It's bacon, cheesy, cauliflower gratin, or gratin, or however you want to say it. I don't really know what it's technically called. I'm sure everyone says it differently. But regardless, this is the most delicious cauliflower that you will ever make. Even if people don't like cauliflower.
They see bacon.
True. You see cheese and bacon, so you can't go wrong. So Em, I'm going to have you cut up and dice up 1 onion. Okay. And then we will also need for this recipe 2 heads of cauliflower if you're going to use fresh, or 1 16-ounce bag of frozen cauliflower, 1/2 cup of shredded cheese, about 3 or 4 pieces of bacon, 1 1/4 cup of milk, 2 tablespoons of garlic, 1/2 teaspoon of salt, 2 tablespoons of oat flour, and 1/2 cup of Parmesan cheese. So we're gonna start with our base for the cauliflower, but I do wanna mention that I already roasted up the cauliflower florets. You also will wanna cook up your bacon if you didn't buy pre-cooked bacon, which is the route that I usually go when I'm topping something with bacon, just to make it easy. But you will wanna cook your bacon in the pan, just cut it up into little pieces and cook it up before you get started, and then just kind of wipe out the pan and you can start with your sauce. So to the pan, I'm just gonna add 1/2 teaspoon of salt, 2 tablespoons of minced garlic.
I love the smell of cooked garlic. So good.
And I'm just gonna kind of cook that over medium heat for just about a minute to bring all of the flavors out of that garlic. And I did spray my pan with cooking spray, or you can use a drizzle of avocado or olive oil before you add that to the pan. So you want to cook that for just about a minute and let it get all those flavors out. And then we're going to add our oat flour. And this is the base of a creamy sauce. And Em, have you ever made like a cream sauce just from scratch? Or
oh, no, I'm not Dashing Dish. I don't do things from scratch.
Well, I'm going to tell you, after you see how easy this is, you will definitely be doing this more because it is super simple. And you can do this as a base for a casserole or even like a mac and cheese. Literally the exact same way that I'm making this cream sauce you could use for any type of cheesy cream sauce. So that looks good, and I know it looks a little bit strange. We have that clumped up oat flour, but you want to just let that cook for about a minute, and you'll see how it all comes together once I add the milk. And we're going to get our whisk out, and we're going to start to whisk over medium to medium-high heat. And this will take just a few minutes, and the more that you whisk, you'll see that it starts to thicken up because of the oat flour. So you could do this with regular white flour as well, but oat flour is a little more nutritious. And I use oat flour for all my recipes, that or almond flour, because it does give you some nutrition in your recipe. Okay, so you see how the sauce is becoming thicker and how it's just kind of lightly simmering. And I've just been whisking it, so you just want to whisk it while it cooks, and that just kind of helps break up that oat flour and make some really smooth sauce as it cooks. Good. So see how easy that is? It's literally garlic, oat flour, and milk.
Yeah, and I always feel like jarred sauces are kind of not great anyway, so this is easy.
And the ingredients aren't always great.
Yeah, that's true.
In a jarred sauce. So now we're gonna add our Parmesan cheese, and that's gonna be what will make this a cheese sauce. And it'll also help thicken it a little bit more. So you just kind of wanna whisk that cheese in, and it will melt just a little bit, and it won't melt perfectly because it's Parmesan cheese. If you did like a shredded cheese, it would melt really nicely, but it will all kind of come together, and it tastes so delicious. So Emily, if you can go ahead and reach over, you can add that cream sauce, and you can kind of just pour that over the cauliflower that's already been roasted.
This is awesome and easy.
Yeah.
This looks good.
Then we're gonna use the same pan that we just used to cook our sauce, and we're gonna saute the onions that Emily diced. So Emily actually has moved to Tennessee with us. Well, not just Emily, her whole family has moved with us and come along from Michigan. And so, Em, do you want to kind of share your story about how you ended up here?
Yeah, so obviously our husbands work together, Sean and Brett. And so when you told us that you were looking in Tennessee, I was, well, this means we might be moving too. And it was a lot to, just to think about. But with,
she wasn't very keen on the idea
at
first, to be honest.
Yeah, because it's meant leaving family, my in-laws, and it's really hard to leave everything I knew, even though you are a sense of comfort. And so really we just had to pray, God, what does this mean for our family? We didn't want to leave just because of a job. We also wanted to leave knowing that God was calling us as an individual family too. And with much prayer and wise counsel, we felt peace about it. And so now we've been here just for a little while, and I love it, just the beauty of Tennessee, but also being with family. But I just sense such a peace here, and that's how I know I'm in the center of God's will.
Yeah. All right, so we're going to add these onions over the top.
Well, that looks so good.
And all you want to do is just make sure that they're just tender and brings out the flavor when you saute them, so that's why we sauteed them. And then we're going to stir everything kind of together. And really, everything is just done in one pan. So super simple. Mm-hmm. And if you, like I said, if you already buy some pre-cooked bacon, then that takes even more work out for you.
And even frozen cauliflower can quicken that process too.
Yes, for sure. So technically, while you're making the sauce and you're sauteing the onions, you can be roasting your cauliflower at the same time so that it's all done in one step. You don't have to roast it ahead of time. So we're just mixing the cauliflower in with the sauce to make sure it's all coated. And that looks really good. Now you can top it with the cheese and the bacon, the best parts.
Oh yeah.
All right, we're gonna roast this 425 degrees for 15 to 20 minutes, just until the cheese is bubbly and melted on top. And it will be the most delicious side that you'll ever, I don't want to say that.
You'll
I can't guarantee that.
Entire life.
Can't guarantee. We're going to roast this 425 degrees for 15 to 20 minutes, just until the cheese is melted and bubbly on top.